Hello, good morning everybody. Welcome back to another vlog. It is a crisp September day today. I'm out walking Odie right now. It's already started getting cold again, which is kind of crazy. It really feels like summer came and went so fast here. I just passed by another guy walking his schnauzer and he was chatting about the weather. He was like, yeah, what'd you think? About 10 out, isn't it? And I was like, that is certainly a number. Yeah, I still haven't trained my little peanut American brain to understand Celsius. Anytime somebody chats about the weather or temperature here, I just nod along, but inside, I'm like, I have no idea what that number means. I'm so sorry about it. But I do know that I'm wearing a sweater. Some leaves have already started to fall in the park, which I'm very excited about. I'm about to be insufferable on Instagram posting about autumn. But tomorrow we're actually going on a little trip to the Cotswolds. We rented a car, we have an Airbnb. I'll get into all that once we get back home. But first I wanted to share some clips I've been accumulating over the past month of just like what we've been up to in London. So here's that. This area is called Hampstead. It's northwest-ish of central London. There's a massive park here called Hampstead Heath. We've been meaning to go here for a while, and I'm so glad we finally did because it's absolutely stunning. There's so much here, from gardens to wooded hiking trails, swimming holes for people and dogs. I was just blown away that something like this would exist within a city. We also went to Kew Gardens another weekend. This is in West London, over near Richmond. It's acres and acres of botanic gardens and walking paths. It has several of these giant glass Victorian greenhouses filled with all kinds of different plants from all over the world. We saw a few Royal Botanical Garden foxes, which were so pretty and fluffy, they put the scrappy street foxes in our neighborhood to shame. The next weekend, we walked around the Barbican estate in central London, which has some really interesting architecture, such as staircase that turns into waterfall and these little seating pods built into the pond. We also went to Daunt Books. This is a pretty famous bookstore in the city, I think because it's giving the aura of Flourish and Bots. It's beautiful, it smells old, and they've got really good tote bags. Okay, hello again. So yes, we're going to the Cotswolds tomorrow, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a part of England characterized by rolling hills, farmlands, beautiful stone cottages, very lovely English countryside. Think of the most picturesque village you'd see on a Christmas card. That's where we're going. We have been there once before. We took a day trip on a bus tour when we visited London in 2022. Absolutely loved it. It was my favorite part of our trip. But because we were on a bus tour, we only had maybe like an hour at each of the stops and the villages, so we didn't have very much time to explore. This time, we're staying a few nights in a village called Bourton on the Water, and then we're planning on visiting some of the other villages nearby in that area. We decided to rent a car, so I will be driving from London to our Airbnb, which is about 2 to 2.5 hours away. This will be my first time driving in the UK, and I am nervous, very nervous. We debated this choice for the past like 2 to 3 months because you technically can get there by train. You can get to one of the villages and then you can take a bus around to some of the other ones. But from my research, it seems like there's maybe a bus on the bus schedule, so it only runs every 1 to 2 hours, which is totally doable in theory. But since we're gonna have Odie with us and the weather here can be a little bit finicky, we did decide to rent a car to give ourselves a little bit more flexibility with our time. But that means I have to drive. Patrick was like, yeah, I'm totally down to rent a car, but I am not driving. He was just not open to the stress and anxiety of that task. So he's gonna be the navigator, I'm gonna drive, and I hope we make it there. I've been reading up on some of the rules of the road and what certain street signs mean. I've also been watching YouTube videos like POV, you're driving in the UK. Just to like familiarize myself with what it looks like driving on the opposite side of the road. I've also watched videos on how to use the roundabouts here, because let me tell you, they are wild. Multiple lanes, multiple exits. You have to be in the right lane that corresponds with your exit. You have to yield to everybody else. Whenever I'm riding the bus and it goes through a roundabout, every time I'm just thinking, thank God I'm not driving because I have no idea what's going on here. So yeah, wish me luck with that. Otherwise, I'm very excited to get out of the city and spend a few days in the country, living my like English cottagecore hobbit fantasy life. I also can't wait to go shopping at all the antique stores. That was something we did last time, and I only bought one thing when we were there because we were traveling with just carry-on luggage and I didn't have any space to buy stuff. But now I'm here, I can take my time, I can buy things. Chiefly, I'm looking for home decor items, wall art, display items, that sort of thing. Also anything with a dachshund or a fox on, I'm open to. Nothing big, no furniture or anything like that, because it still needs to theoretically fit in a suitcase whenever it's time for us to move back to the US. I want to take all my little trinkets with me. But yeah, that's the plan. Today I need to finish up packing and cleaning the house, and then I'll check in tomorrow after we pick up the car. Okay, made it from the car place, successfully drove to our apartment, waiting for Patrick to now go get the bags and Odie, and then we'll be on our way. It was really nerve-wracking. A bus did honk at me and a motorcycle yelled at me. The driving did get a little better for me once we got out of London. I could mostly deal with the cars and being on the other side of the road, but it was the motorbikes that were freaking me out. Where we lived in the US, motorcycles were not allowed to weave through traffic or drive between lanes, and here they are. So it just really felt like a free-for-all with motorbikes everywhere. That was really stressful. But once we were on the highway getting out of the city, way less motorbikes, so that was good. Once we got off the highway, I had to maneuver all of the roundabouts, which we did not get any footage of because I was fighting for my life out there. We also had some country roads, which look wider on camera, but I swear to you, felt only one car width wide. I was really white-knuckling my way through these streets whenever a car passed on the opposite side. Oh my God, we made it to Burton on the water. Every muscle in my body has been clenched for the last 2 hours. I can't wait to never do that again. We couldn't check into our Airbnb yet, so we parked in a nearby car park and then moseyed on over into town. So we're shifting the tone of this video into cozy autumn village vibes. Now that's much better. We got some pastries and sat by the water for a little bit, watched the ducks. This is the main street of town. It has these absolutely precious stone bridges over the water. The river Windrush flows through the village in just the sweetest Hallmark movie kind of way. The street is lined with shops and bakeries that were decorated for the season. There was a candle shop, sweet shop, a perfumery. Naturally, I got right to the antique shops. This first one was called The Looking Glass. It's a pretty small space, but they've really fit in as many trinkets inside as humanly possible. I died over this stained glass frog lamp. Need him. And need him biblically, unfortunately. Lots of vintage cameras. I thought this crock with the little thistle on top of it was adorable for like honey or sugar. They had all these pretty brooches. There were crates and crates of framed artwork, decorative plates, these collectible cottage figurines I thought were really cute. The other antique shop on this same street is called Cotswolds Antiques and Tea Room. It's mostly antiques, but there's a small tea cafe in the back. They had so many of these Beatrix Potter figurines. I wanted this precious strawberry mouse, but He was missing a front paw, so I decided to leave him behind. Lots of Peter Rabbit items. This is another popular collectible I see, this Bunnykin brand dishes with all the little bunnies. Also these table sets based on the Brambley Hedge children's book series, so stinking cute and darling. They had some Disney items, mostly dishes and figurines at this spot. I was in absolute heaven. Everything here was just so quaint and sweet. We walked around town for a few hours and then it was time to check into our cottage. Okay, we made it into the Airbnb, which was a little bit of a task because I forgot to download all the messages and app information before we left, and I have absolutely zero service here. So we had to walk around town to find Wi-Fi to connect to so that I could look up the instructions on how to get in here. But we made it in. I think it's gonna be perfect for what we need. It's really close to town. It's right next to a little co-op grocery store. So Patrick just popped over there to get us some water, snacks, shampoo, that sort of thing. And then I think we're just gonna relax in the cottage for a little bit and then walk back into town to get some dinner. I thought I'd do a quick little tour of the house. It's an annex that's been added on to the main cottage where the host lives. There's a little bathroom off to the left here when you first walk in, nice big shower. Then off to the right is a galley style kitchen. It had a fridge, stove, kettle, although we didn't end up doing any cooking. And then straight through the kitchen is the studio kind of apartment space with a couch, bed, table. The ceiling was vaulted with these pretty beams. And then really one of the main reasons why I chose this space was the private fenced in back garden area so Odie could run around and sniff. We were able to kind of leave these doors open so he could come and go. He absolutely loved it. And the garden also had these beautiful apple trees, which was a nice surprise. But yeah, we just relaxed outside for a bit until it was time for dinner. Absolutely love the walking path that goes into town. The stone walls are very storybook looking. The town had cleared out quite a bit in the evening, and one thing about me and Patrick is we like to eat dinner early. Early bird special, if dinner service starts at 5, that is when we will be there. We ate at a restaurant right on the water. Patrick got a classic fish and chips and I got roast chicken over mushrooms and potatoes. They were really delicious. Then we got sticky toffee pudding for dessert. First time trying it. It's like a sponge cake covered in hot toffee sauce and ice cream. Delightful. Loved it. Then we just wandered town. I'm obsessed with homes that are covered in ivy, and this cottage had ivy that was turning red, and they had a wiener dog planter out front. Deceased. Absolutely deceased. Then we made our way back home and got ready for bed. The next morning we got breakfast at a cafe called Lorraine, I believe. Patrick got blueberry compote pancakes and I got banana toffee pancakes. These were divine. Maybe the best whipped cream I've ever had. We walked through some more shops. How cute is this Victorian Christmas shop display? Most tourists only stop in these villages for a day or even a couple hours if they're just here on a bus tour. So the mornings and the evenings are much less busy, way more quiet and peaceful. I would still recommend doing a day trip tour to the Cotswolds if you're visiting London. It really is worth seeing in my opinion, but if you have more time to spare, I'd definitely stay in town for a couple nights just to experience it without the crowds because it feels really special. This craft store called Bourton Yarn Basket, and this is what I feel like I should be doing with my life. I'm not meant to work behind a desk on a computer. I'm meant to source high quality yarn for the village, do you feel me? They had these gorgeous cross stitch kits. I mean, how cute would these cottages be framed on the wall? I really wanted one, but truly do not have time to start a new hyperfixation hobby at this moment in time. Then we went to a little tourist attraction called the Dragonfly Maze. It's a hedge maze with a puzzle code that you have to solve. There are these stone markers on the ground scattered around the maze. You have to guess the picture on the stone, and then all of your answers should give you instructions on how to find the golden dragonfly at the end of the maze. The treasure is guarded by none other than a magic English toad. And yeah, we freaking nailed it, team. There's also a model village of the village, like an exact mini replica of every stone building in town. If you like miniatures or dollhouses, this is really cute. There's the antique store from yesterday and the little Christmas village shop. There's even a model village of the model village where the model village would be in real life. It gets a little existential. Then we decided to walk to one of the neighboring villages. It was about a 1.5 mile walk, with the latter half being through some farmland. This village is called Lower Slaughter, which sounds kind of morbid giving the meaning these days, but it technically comes from an Old English word slote or slow, which means muddy place or wet land. This village was pretty small, more residential, I would say, not as many shops or cafes, but very pretty. There was an old water mill and a church with some architecture that dates back to the 13th century, which is wild. We also stopped by the Hawkstone Brewery, which is owned by Jeremy Clarkson. The pathway between the villages goes right by it. We got the classic lager and a couple ciders, which were really good. I liked the blackberry infused one.
Here we go.
The caretaker at the maze told us we needed to try this burger place in town that he likened to a spiritual experience. I got a sweet jalapeno chicken burger and Patrick got a blueberry barbecue pork burger. And yeah, this slapped. It was definitely Americanized food, which was kind of funny, but I got a hot skillet cookie, which was an 11 out of 10. On day 3, we got breakfast at another bakery in town. We sat right by the water. I got a black currant stuffed pastry and a chai latte, and then we decided to drive to another nearby village. This one is called Stow on the Wold, and it's most famous for these amazing church doors that are said to have inspired Tolkien when he was creating Lord of the Rings. To another antique shop. This one is called Tara's Antiques. I kind of regret not buying this wooden mouse and mushroom carving. Like, this as a bookend would be too cute, I fear. This shop was 4 or 5 floors of antiques. It had a bit of everything. Lots of art, books, figurines, some small furniture pieces. I really debated getting one of the Beatrix Potter figurines, but I worry if I did, it would consume my whole life and I'd need to collect them all. And I really can't be doing all that. They had so much cool art I wanted with beautiful frames. Like this one right here is perfection. But perfection did cost £750, so we kept on moving. This is what most of the rooms look like, shelves of trinkets and treasures just floor to ceiling. Feeling feral at the antique market, foaming at the mouth to get my grubby hands on these wares. I love these museum curio drawers. I saw a couple of these. I'd love to hang something like that on the wall and just fill it with trinkets. I liked this tiny chest of drawers. I thought that would be cute to organize art supplies. Some really cool mirrors. Obsessed with this wooden one with the hand-painted roses. I 100% would have taken that home, but it was just sadly too big and heavy for a suitcase. Did not find much dachshund stuff, unfortunately. There was this mug, but it didn't really speak to me. I picked out a few things from that shop, and then we found a cafe to stop for some tea and cakes. We ended up driving to one more village. This one is called Burford. I didn't film much of it because it was midday at this point and quite busy with a lot of cars and tourists. We visited one more antique store here. This one we knew had a collection of vintage maps, so we were hoping to find one of London. Look at this butter dish, shaped like a little cottage. Imagine that on a breakfast platter. You simply can't. It's too cute. This store did have lots of unframed art prints that we just took some time rifling through. If you're thinking, wow, you know, it's been a couple minutes since we saw an old church, say no more, this one's for you. Every village has one, and I'm not a religious individual, but if there's an old church with a cemetery, I'ma go look at it. Show me your pointed arches and Gothic buttresses. The stained glass, the vaulted ceiling. Do you ever step inside an old building and think, this place smells haunted? I'm interested in whatever that is. This golden eagle was giving me Dumbledore. I did black out a bit after that and forgot to film anything more. I had some mushroom risotto for dinner, I tried to pet this kitty, and that was pretty much the night. This last day, I was determined to find an autumn tree before we headed home, so we drove a little bit north to a town called Moreton-in-Marsh to visit the Batsford Arboretum. I read they had good trees there. We were a little early in the season to see the full fall spectrum, but there were a few trees that had already started to change, so I was happy about that. And you can't go to the Arboretum without visiting the old Arboretum Church. When I travel, I do like to fantasize about what people's lives are that live there. Now, what do you think these folks here are up to, just kind of generally speaking? Like, this person was born into a life where they live in an English witch's cottage across from an 18th century cemetery next to a giant botanical tree garden. I'd like some more information about that, because damn, what a beautiful life. Okay, hello everybody. We made it back home safely. All is well. Dropped the car off yesterday. Now, I guess when somebody asks me about driving in the UK, I can at least say that I've done it. I've technically checked that off the list, but I really have no interest in ever doing it again. I think I'd only do it if there was somewhere really specific that we wanted to go that required a car, but it would have to be outside of London. Will not be driving here again. We had the best time on our trip. It was so lovely. I feel so lucky and thankful to have been able to go there. But I did do some damage at the antique stores. So I thought I would end this video with doing a little haul and show you everything that I picked up. Some people might think this is a bit excessive, but personally, I think I exhibited a lot of self-control. Okay, I'll start with the wall art, because I feel like I got the most of that, and then work our way down. This is actually the first thing I bought. I said I was looking for fox related things, and this could not be more perfect. It's a silk woven print of a mother fox and 3 babies, which could not have been more perfect when I saw this, because we had that mother fox out in the garden behind our flat that had 3 fox pups in the spring. It says it's a Cash's delicately woven picture. It's called Fox and Cubs. Absolutely love this. Was the perfect fox find. The next piece of wall art is this. It said it was a vintage watercolor painting, and it has this gorgeous ornate gold frame with it. It doesn't have any information on the back about the print, but the scene is just some delicate rolling hills, some wispy mountains in the background, and there is a little cottage down in the corner. So I just thought this was really pretty. I love the frame, and it'll go with some of the other frames that I own. The next piece that I picked out is this kind of encyclopedia scientific print of a collection of moths. I liked how it looked like kind of a museum display, and it has the moth scientific name at the bottom. Love the colors. I think this will look so pretty in a gallery wall. The next piece that I got was this 3D kind of sculpted cottage in a frame. It's part of the English collection Jubilee Cottage. I just thought this was really unique. I don't have any art prints like this that are 3D. It's in my kind of preferred color palette. The frame also has some of that gold detailing that the other frames had. So yeah, I just love this. I thought it was really special. And then the last piece of art that we picked up was a map from, I think, the last antique shop that I showed. We were wanting to find a vintage map of London. We thought that would just be a really cool piece to have in our home forever. We wanted to find one that kind of had our neighborhood and our street on it, but the only one of those that they had was like 200 pounds. So we decided to pass on that and we got a different one. This one that we picked out is not technically a map of London. It's kind of a map of Middlesex, which is an area around London, but the map itself still has London on it. This says it's a map of London and Middlesex in 1845, with color being added to the painting in 1985. And I picked this one because it has London in it, but I also liked that this map had some artwork around the map design. It has what looks like an angel, maybe a serpent, this kind of Poseidon figure. It also has the Union Jack flag on it, which I thought was cool. So yeah, I like that it's colorful, and I'll be excited to hang this when we find a frame for it. Okay, that's all the wall art I got. Moving on to, I got 2 decorative plates. I don't think my younger self would have ever imagined that I would be a person to grow up and hang decorative plates on the wall, but here we are. This is the first one that I found. It's called The Colors of Autumn and October by Peter Bennett, it looks like. It's a Royal Worcester porcelain, limited edition, made in England, 1979. Obviously, I love the colors in this. I love the mushroom and the little cottage in the back. It also has a fox, a squirrel, some little moth butterflies, birds. Yeah, I just thought this was so pretty. It's definitely in my preferred color palette, and I just think it's gonna be really pretty on the wall, like with the rest of my art prints. And then the other plate that I picked up is part of that Brambley Hedge children's book series collection. This print is called Autumn. It says it's a series of 4 seasons plates from the Brambley Hedge gift collection. I couldn't pass this up. 1, because it's autumn related, and 2, it has the mushrooms, it has like the blackberry bramble bushes that we see all the time in the park. I love this. And then I did end up picking up one of those Bunnykin brand dishes. I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be. I don't know if it's an ashtray or some kind of serving bowl. I don't love the picture in the center. It's kind of scratched up and not my favorite, but because of that, this was pretty cheap. And I don't really care about this anyway because I plan on using it as a saucer catch bowl for one of my plants. So I'll have a plant sitting in here anyway that'll cover that. But I just thought this would be so pretty because you'll still be able to see the little bunnies around the edge of the saucer. So cute. The next thing I picked up, also kind of plant related, is this miniature wooden stool. I thought the wooden carving on this was so beautiful, and it actually matches perfectly with a different piece that I picked up at an antique market in Hampstead Heath. It's kind of this exact same carved wood pattern on a letterbox. The legs also have this pretty detailing, and it is collapsible. So the top comes off and then the legs fold up. So I'll still be able to pack it flat one day, which I thought was cool. Yeah, I pictured this on a shelf, on a mantle or something, holding a plant or a candle. I just thought it was really pretty and unique. Love it. The next thing is this porcelain crock. I think it's for milk or creamer. It has this really pretty painted vine detailing around the top of it. The bottom is just stamped with the maker. It says Grindley, England. I don't think I'm gonna use this for food. I think I'll use it more as just decoration, sitting maybe with my plants. I might use it to water them in just like a very cutesy kind of way. Very Zemir, very mindful. I don't water too much. Yeah, this one's pretty simple. It was inexpensive. I just thought it was pretty. The next thing I found I'm very excited about. It's this little porcelain teapot in the shape of a cottage. This is so stinking cute. It doesn't have any stamp or date on it, so I'm not sure how old it is. But I just love the look of it. I love how the front has little hand-painted elements of it. It represents our trip and the cottages we saw and the tea that we drank there. Yeah, it's just really sweet. Okay, last few things. I have a little bronze bronze dachshund statue that I got from my grandmother, and I was kind of hoping to find a fox one to match with it. Didn't find a fox one, but I found this little rabbit that is in kind of the exact same style as my dachshund statue. It is pretty heavy, so I thought I could use it as a door stopper, or maybe it would just look cute on a shelf on top of a stack of books or something. But yeah, he's so cute. I felt like I couldn't leave without bringing home at least one little guy. The next thing I picked up is a antique candle holder. It looks like maybe a mix of brass and copper. I liked the metal detailing around the candlestick holder. I love the little handle. Imagine me, Victorian dressing gown, sleeping cap, wandering the halls with this. The Ghost of Christmas Past shows up. It's a whole thing. These next two things are really small. The first one is this little vintage brooch. Now, I don't know how old this actually is. There wasn't any information about it, so it could be a total scam, but I still really like it. I'm loving anything with berries on it at the moment, maybe on a jean jacket or on a sweater, just to add like a little pop of something special. This next thing is actually art related. I've gotten really into embroidery over the past year, and I stabbed my fingers constantly. I don't currently have or use a thimble, so when I saw they had a bunch of thimbles, I picked this one out. It just has some little songbirds with some autumn leaves. It was only 50 pence, really cute, and hopefully I can use this now and stop stabbing my fingers. But yeah, that's everything that I got in the Cotswolds. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Oh, he's just exhausted.